Hey ladies and gents, welcome back. This is going to be part 2 to What If Naruto Was the Harem King. So, make sure to like and subscribe. The like on this video so it's going to be 100 likes. With that being said, make sure to check out my Discord and let's do a brief recap of what actually happened in the last part of this What If. So, let's just get right into it. So in the last part, Naruto basically got his first power, because whenever somebody is infatuated with Naruto, he gains a new ability for how many different people that, do that. The first person that did that would be Hinata, which gave Naruto the ability to basically make it so that more women were infatuated with him, making it so that Naruto continued to get more and more women in his, harem. So Naruto would gain more and more different abilities through that way, and yeah, everybody's 18 in this What If too, because I just, basically shoved everything back a few years, so I didn't get any weird comments or anything like that. So yeah, everybody's 18, and the story is just going to take place now, where we're just going to, pretend, they definitely wouldn't get a hell of a lot stronger through that 6 years. We're just gonna pretend, okay? Okay. Anyway, and we're just gonna pretend, somebody wouldn't be, dead, like Granny Chio or somebody like that wouldn't have died from, old age or some random shit like that. It's just, story's gonna be the same, except basically the cast is older, so I can make this What If without getting in trouble for it. So anyway, with that happening, everybody's 18. And let's just get back into the What If. So, basically, where we actually left off was with Naruto waking up with all of the girls in his harem basically surrounding him at this point. So with that happening, that's where we're going to jump back into the actual What If itself. So Naruto's waking up, and he basically is looking around, and he sees Hinata, Ino, and Sakura basically standing over him. And he's just like, what do you guys want? I told you to leave me the fuck alone. I said you could follow me, but I never said I was going to talk to you. Or I never said you could come into my house. What the fuck are you guys doing? They basically just look at him, they're like, well, Naruto, because, come on, they get these feelings for Naruto, they're gonna want to do stuff with him, because, why not? I know, second episode, and stuff's already happening, you gotta do what you gotta. Anyways, so Naruto's like, so why the fuck are you guys here? Can you just cut to the chase? And they look at him, they blush a little bit, and they're like, Naruto, we want to do something. And Naruto's like, oh hell no, and he just gets up and he's just like, I'm not doing this shit he just walks the fuck out, and he's just like, goodbye. He's like, nope. He's just out of there. He's like, okay, why are these, he's gonna have to get used to this whole weird harem thing. He's not used to anything like this actually happening. It's so so odd to him, so weird. Why the hell are they trying to do these things to him? Why? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So obviously they would be really sad, because their lover, or not, or their future, I don't know exactly what to call it, the person they want to do stuff with just kind of denied them so heavily like that. So they end up leaving Naruto's little apartment building thing, whatever he lives in, the little shack that he lives in, I guess you could say. And with them leaving, they kind of they're talking to each other, talking amongst themselves, and they're trying to figure out how they're going to actually be able to share Naruto, because they don't want one of them to get him, they want all of them to have him. And Naruto at this point would be watching from a distance, and with all of his powers, I'm going to say one of them is super hearing, and he's listening to them, or super hearing that he can control. It's not all the time that he can always hear people, it's just when he wants to. So he's looking at them, and he's hearing them, and he's just like, oh, that's what's happening. Interesting. He's listening to this, and he's listening to them talk about how they basically want all to marry Naruto, and they all want to have Naruto's children and all that kind of shit. And Naruto's just standing over there in the corner watching them, listening to them, and he's just he's cringing at this point. He's just like, what? What do you mean you want to do that with me? I don't want to do that with you. Why would you want to do this? And he's so confused at this point. Then the three of them look up, and they see Naruto standing over there, and he's just like, shit. And he just runs out of there. He's just like, okay, I cannot let them catch me again. I gotta go, chief. So Naruto goes in the woods, and he would begin training, because he can't really think of anything else to do. He doesn't want to be with those three, obviously. So as he runs out into the woods, he starts, training. But then he hears something from behind him, because again, he has super hearing and enhanced sensory abilities due to the fact that, all these different abilities he has. So Naruto turning around, knowing that somebody's there, he sees something. He sees something that he wasn't necessarily expecting. He was expecting maybe like a squirrel or a deer or some random shit like that. But turns around and it's Tenten, and Naruto's like, "What do you want? What do you want, Tenten?" Tenten's looking at Naruto, and she's just like, "Well, ever since a few weeks ago, Naruto, I've been..." And Naruto's like, "Oh, hell no. Not," he's just like so angry at this. He's just like, "Why is every single girl my age in the Leaf Village doing this? Like what did I do? I didn't, like, this is like, I wasn't expecting this to happen. I didn't do anything different from what I normally do. So why the fuck do they want me so badly? Like, what did I do for this to happen?" He's just so confused by this. He doesn't want to accept the fact that he has a harem now because, this is really new to him. It's like Naruto's personality hasn't changed all too much, or like he's more of a dick now, but like he still isn't used to something like a harem. He doesn't like, and he's just, it's so weird for him to think about stuff like this. It's so odd. So Naruto's like, "Oh my god," and he just runs away. He's like, "Okay, I'm not dealing with this shit anymore, Tenten," and he's fucking leaves. He's like, "Okay." He needs some time to process what's happening, so he runs away faster than anybody could even see, or not anybody, but like most like people like Tenten, Sakura, Sasuke, anybody like that, they could even see, and Naruto goes way the fuck away from the village, where nobody would find him, and he stays there for a few days, just contemplating what he actually wants to do about his girl issue. So, after the few days would pass, he'd go back to the village with a new mindset. He was going to accept them. He was going to be their leader, and he was going to be their king. So, Naruto's new goal in life. He didn't just want to be the king of a few women. He wanted to be the king of all the women. So, with that happening, Naruto re-enters the village, and all of the girls almost immediately, so for some odd reason, know that Naruto just came back, and they run to him. With Naruto standing at the village doors, they all run up to Naruto, with all of them trying to gather around Naruto, trying to give him a hug, expecting some kind of like punch or retort in response. However, Naruto just simply opens his arms and says, "I am your king now." And all of them are just like, "Yay, Naruto!" They do their whole thing like that. And they basically jump in. And Naruto's like, "Okay, well, now I gotta figure out exactly how I'm going to make my plan come into fruition." Because obviously he needs to figure out how he's going to become the true harem king. Right now he's the harem king of the Leaf Village. He needs to become the harem king of the world. So with that happening, Naruto would basically re-enter the village. He'd go back to his apartment and he would eat ramen because he hasn't eaten in a few days. He's been living in the forest or not really living, but he's been eating stuff in the forest for the last few days while he was contemplating what he wanted to do. So Naruto goes back to his house and he gets his ramen. As Naruto's eating his ramen, he's thinking more and more about how he actually wants to go about getting, all the different people in all the different villages to start flocking to Naruto. And Naruto realizes it. He's going to have to travel around the entire world, basically just seeing all of these, different women, different people. So with that happening, Naruto gets up, done with his ramen, which he throws away the little, instant ramen packaging because Naruto doesn't litter like that, and he leaves his house. With Naruto leaving his house, he runs up to the Hokage office, and he basically looks at Hiruzen. At this point, Naruto is very close to his graduation date, and he talks to Hiruzen. He's just like, I want to do the graduation test, Mr. Hiruzen. And Hiruzen's like, What? What do you mean you want to do the graduation test? You failed not even a week ago. And Naruto's like, I want to do it again. Please, Hiruzen, just let me do it. And Hiruzen's like, okay, because Naruto basically didn't really gain all of his abilities other than the women infatuation up until a few weeks ago. So he wouldn't have these different abilities. However, now Naruto would have all of these different abilities, like enhanced chakra control, enhanced sensory abilities, enhanced smell, enhanced sight, basically enhanced everything. And now Naruto, after more and more abilities, he can slow time, because I said that in the last part, and everything like that. Naruto would basically be able to use all these different jutsus a lot easier than he would in the original. So Hiruzen's like, okay, make do the clone jutsu. And Naruto's like, okay. He makes an absolutely perfect clone. And Hiruzen's like, oh, well, I wasn't expecting that. And he passes Naruto. What do you mean? Why would he pass Naruto, you may ask? Well, he sees Naruto kind of as a son or a grandson in this, because remember, Minato and everything like that. So he has more, love for Naruto than he would for basically anybody else in the village. So that, he basically just lets Naruto pass. And he's just like, well, Naruto, nobody really has graduated at this point. You would have to be placed on a one-man team. Naruto obviously would accept this, and he'd be like, okay, well, who's going to be my squad leader until the rest of the class graduates? And he's like, well, I'll just give you to Kakashi. Basically thinking that, Minato, Naruto's son, or not Naruto's son, but Minato's son is Naruto. Kakashi was Minato's, pupil, everything like that. So he's like, I'll put you on Team Kakashi, Team 7, alone, for now, until the rest of your teammates graduate, in which I'll put them, you'll get 2 other teammates on your team. And Naruto's like, okay, cool. So he goes over to Kakashi. And Naruto meets Kakashi. Kakashi is absurdly surprised because he wasn't expecting Naruto to look this strong. He's a little bit taller, a little bit more sexy. And he's like, this is a good-looking kid. I'm not gay or anything. I'm straight, but, damn, Naruto, you looking pretty fine, not gonna lie. And Naruto's like, thanks, Kakashi, but you didn't really need to say that out loud. That's kind of like a thing you think to yourself. Kakashi's like, yeah, I see your point. That's a good point. I don't really know what came over me. And Naruto's like, yeah, I'm sure of that. I'm sure. So, Naruto basically introduces himself. He's like, I'm Naruto Uzumaki. And obviously Kakashi would already know this because he's Minato's son. So, he basically is like, yeah, he introduces himself. He's like, I'm Kakashi Hatake. I'm this, and that's all I really want to say about myself. And Naruto's like, oh, okay, that makes sense. And Kakashi's like, hey, Naruto, what are your goals for your life? And Naruto's like, he's debating. Does he want to hide what his true goals are? Or does he just want to tell Kakashi? He's like, I want to become the Harem King of the world. So, Naruto tells him this. He's like, yeah, I'm going to become the Harem King of the world. And Kakashi's like, what's a Harem King? What's a harem? And Naruto's like, oh, I just made up a word. It's for when when a bunch of girls are won't stop following me around and they all love me. And Kakashi's like, what? What are you talking about? And Naruto's like, oh, well, you see, I formed this word because all the different girls in the Leaf Village, whether or not they're older than me or not, are basically, they feel a lot of love for me, and they follow me around the village, and do this, and they do that. And Kakashi's like, what? What do you mean they just, follow you around the village? That doesn't make any sense. And Naruto's like, it's whatever. It doesn't really need to make sense. All that matters is that since they started coming, I've become a hell of a lot stronger. Kakashi's like, what do you mean? Naruto's like, you want to arm wrestle? Kakashi's like, sure, why not? Remembering back to his might guy, thing. They'd start arm wrestling. They go to a barrel, and they basically put both their arms up, with Naruto's arm being a lot bulkier than than Kakashi was expecting. Because he looked really lean, but then all of a sudden, when Naruto was, flexing a little bit, because he wanted to, his muscles just got a hell of a lot bigger. And Kakashi's like, okay, whatever, I'll arm wrestle you, and they start arm wrestling, with Naruto easily winning, and Kakashi's like, what? What do you mean? How did you do that? How old are you? And Naruto's like, well, I'm 18 or 19, however old Naruto would be at this point. And Kakashi's like, okay. Okay, then. I'm not going to question why you're so powerful. And Kakashi's like, okay, well, we don't really have any missions as of yet. Well, we have some D-rank missions, but in the meantime, I can train you, Naruto. Naruto's like, okay, yeah, that's dope. So Kakashi would start trying to teach Naruto things, and it's surprising to find out to Kakashi that Naruto has all 5 chakra natures. You might, what? Why would he have all 5 chakra natures? Well, you see, the girls from the village, because, there's tons of girls in the village, most of them don't necessarily join Naruto's harem, at least not yet, but they still are infatuated with Naruto, which is the prerequisite to get these different abilities. So Naruto has all 5 chakra natures, because I'm going to make him OP like that. So Kakashi's like, oh damn, he wasn't expecting something like that, and he tries to teach Naruto some different lightning style and some different fire style. Naruto easily, first try, does the fireball jutsu. Kakashi's like, whoa, that's kind of odd. And he tries to teach Naruto a lightning style. Naruto's like, what if instead, he doesn't really want to teach Naruto the Chidori, but he shows him it anyway. Naruto's looking at it. He's just like, what if you didn't amplify it to such an extent, and he just used it as a paralysis technique? And Kakashi's like, what do you mean a paralysis technique? Naruto forms a Chidori-like thing in his hand, and he touches Kakashi against it, and his entire leg goes completely numb. He can't feel it, and Kakashi doesn't fall over, but he's just standing on one leg at this point. And Kakashi's like, whoa, how did you do that first try? And Naruto's like, I don't know, I kind of did it. And Kakashi's like, Interesting. So, with Naruto doing that, about 5 minutes later, Kakashi's leg would come back and he would be able to, like, actually use it again. So, with him actually being able to use his leg, he would start once again training Naruto. Tree walking. Naruto learns at first try. Water walking. Once again, Naruto does it without any training, any practice, anything. He just instantly picks it up, instantly learns it with absolutely no difficulty whatsoever. Kakashi would be absurdly surprised by this, but then he starts feeling more admiration for Naruto. However, that's where I'm going to leave this part off. I'll leave it up to interpretation from you guys what I mean by admiration when I say Kakashi feels this. So, I'll see you guys in the next part. Peace out. Bye.